Hey guys, Convolva here, and today I'm gonna show you how to make this sound. You have probably heard this or at least some version of the same with the different sound as the bass in a lot of Psy Trance tracks. It's actually a rather common effect which is not very intuitive at first but a very easy one to create. So let's just get right to it. You can use any sample that you want for the starting sound, but I liked how it sounded with this snare here. It's okay if you don't have this exact snare that I've got over here. The key is to use a sample that has a short decay and does not sustain for too long, and that should do the trick. After putting the sample into my playlist here, I passed it into the mixer where I use some effects to create this sound. By the way, this is how the snare sounds like without any effects on. So this is what my steps were from the beginning, just to chronologically show you guys how I worked my way to get to the end result. Before I even begin messing around with any of these, I put two of these delay units to create a tempo sync tail first. The first delay unit has a different purpose and we will come to that in a minute. So I use the tempo sync feature of this delay 3 and change the time setting to 3 to get that offbeat delay effect so that the echoes sort of don't overlap. The delay model used here is set to ping pong with pan towards the left at around 9 o'clock. The level is set to about 80% and then I reduce the low pass filters cutoff with some resonance. Similarly, I use the tempo sync feature of the second delay 3 unit with time settings set to 1. Delay model set to ping pong with pan all the way towards the left, and this is what it sounds like so far. The secret to getting this sound is really in this delay 3 unit, which I added before the other two delay units in the FX chain, where I disengage the tempo sync and reduce the level to around 30% and change the delay model to stereo. You will notice that changing the time feature even slightly in here will get you a really different sound every time. This happens because when you change the time at which the waveform repeats itself, you are actually changing the frequency at which the sound is being played, thus invariably changing the pitch of the sound. This is a very important idea to consider because you wouldn't really know the pitch or the key corresponding to the delay time that you have set over here. And this can cause the effect to not harmonize or go well with the actual key of the track itself. So wait a minute, does that mean that this is just going to be hit and trial then? No, not really. Thankfully, there is a way to nail this issue every single time, and from the standpoint of an electrical engineer, it has something to do with this equation, which I will discuss by the end of this video. So for those of you who are interested to know the science behind the sound, you should totally stick around. After adding all the three delay units, I then cleaned up the dry sound a bit by placing the parametric EQ before the delay units, in which I did a boost at the low mid frequencies around 520 Hz and a slight cut at 3K to 4K range, just to tame the high frequencies a little bit so that it doesn't pierce through my ears. Then I added a reverb unit which helps create some new harmonics to play with, and these are the settings in the unit. Then we come to the second part of the sound, that is the EQing of the sound right before the third delay unit. You can experiment by doing this in different places in your mixer FX chain just to get different results. I used two EQs to do this, which was totally 100% redundant and unnecessary. Should have really used one, but God knows for what reasons I chose to. So yeah, I boosted a decent amount in the mid and low mid frequencies of the spectrum and automated it as such. To polish the sound a bit more, I again used parametric EQ after the delay units to cut some unwanted frequencies and boost some frequencies. And that's it. That gives us this sound. So coming back to the equation I talked about, which says that frequency of any wave is the reciprocal of the time taken for it to complete one cycle. This applies to both mechanical as well as EM waves alike. You might be thinking, well, that's all cool, but what does that even mean and how does it apply to this? Well, I'm glad you asked. As I mentioned before, we are trying to make the effect harmonize with the key of the track. So for that, we need to firstly find out at what frequency the key of our track lies in. In my case, the key of the track is F, and to find the frequency, you can just search for frequency harmonic chart on Google. Or if you're using FL 12.5, you can just open up a parametric EQ and go to one of these tokens, right click, go to keys, and you will see the frequency table showing exactly what frequency corresponds to which key. I went into F, as F is the key of my track, and the frequency of F0 is at 21 Hz. Then I went into my calculator and applied the equation, which gave me 0.04761 or 47.61 milliseconds. Now 47.61 milliseconds did not really give me that effect that I was going for. So I halved the number to get 23.809 milliseconds, which is also fine, as that just means that the waveform will repeat itself twice in the same time. This sound might not be in the same key as the track right now due to this calculation, but it will now harmonize with the key of the track, which was the whole point anyway. You can choose to do this by ears and see if it makes sense while tweaking it. Again, you don't have to do all these calculations just to get to the result. Just use your ears if you like. It's also very dependent on the kind of creative goal that you're trying to achieve at the moment. But one thing is for sure, you can't go wrong with this method. I have used this effect in one of my current projects, which I'm working on at the moment. If you guys have still not really understood as to how this effect is used, then just to give you guys a bit of context, I'll show you a small preview of my upcoming project. There's something I noticed recently, and that is Psy Trance is a highly effect-based genre rather than being a synth-heavy one. What I mean by that is that in this genre, the initial sound is usually either a saw wave or some variant of the same waveform family, but it's what you do with it later in your processing is what makes it into a great element in a track. I have heard a lot of people constantly complain about how Psytrance uses such basic sound design and is not at par with the modern tools that we have in our disposal. I don't fully agree with that. While Psytrance does use very minimal sound design, I think the ability to just use these basic sounds to create a quality track in itself, which delivers a message, is a talent and is worthy of people's attention. Also, there is this whole aspect of precision, which is the more precision you put into your productions with basic things like panning, EQing, and volume automation, the tighter your tracks will become and the better the end result will be. And that has nothing to do with sound design. So, for a newer producer out there, if you're just starting out, don't worry, keep at it, and you will definitely get there. Also, I myself am constantly learning new things every other day, and I try my best to keep you guys posted on new techniques that I find interesting. But if there are any specific sounds that you want me to work on in the future, then just put it in the comments and I will check them out. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and make sure to check out some of my other videos if this one has helped you, and hit the like and subscribe button.